Uh, Hello everyone, this is a brief tutorial, so I won't explain any math here. Instead, I'm gonna show you how you can perform a quick and a little bit dirty setup and just make things work. Let's start from creating a single component. We need to make an empty game object and assign wait a minute and assign some script to it. Let's take access. So we need two objects set here. We set our game object as origin. So origin, it's the object the script will drive. You can see debug visual. We can reduce this radius a little bit. And we need a second object. Let's create some geometry so it would be visible, but a little bit smaller. Now let's assign our sphere as the target. Now and rename it. So this is our target. Notice that while I'm moving my target object, my first object always facing it, I can move my target object, or I can move my axis itself, and it is always facing. So that's it. That's very simple, simplest example possible. Now let's make something more complex. Let's make prefab. Train wheel. Oops. Okay, this will be a root object. Let's create underline one. Okay, so here's the wheel. Let's assign an axis. Set wheel as origin and set our sphere as a target. Okay, it works. Reduce radius a little bit. Now let's make another object now as a piston. Now we need to add, oh, by the way, I like you to see all components working together, so I will move my scripts to the root of prefab. So let's add mover, set where is our piston? Our piston must be somewhere here, -2. Now let's set piston as origin and our sphere as target, and see what happens. wheel turns, mover expands as close to the sphere as possible. Now I believe visual is too big and my mover expands in the wrong direction, so I'm going to rotate it like so. Now that goes in the right direction, but problem is mover moves and wheel turns each in its own way. We need to connect them, so I'm going to place additional game object over wheel and name it as pin. Move that object to the edge of the wheel like so, and now I will change mover's target. I will set this pin as a new target for the mover. Now mover follows the pin which is tied to the wheel, and wheel follows the sphere. Okay, it's good, but now I want my mover not to just follow the pin target, but to keep a certain distance away from it. Let's say 2 meters. So now as the wheel turns, my mover expands so that between this point and this point is always 2 meters of distance. Now I can add new component and name it a piston joint, and I must create additional axis. Set piston joint as origin and set wheel pin as target, and reduce a visual a little bit. Okay, too small. Alright, now watch the yellow marker, and as you can see it faces the pin which is tied to the wheel. Now everything is ready and I can add some real geometry. Let's say add a cube and set it to small scale, and it should be 2 meters of length, and shift it a little bit, and now hey, we have a train wheel. It's working. Our components are working together, forming something complex. Awesome. Now I can add more geometry. I can add a cylinder here. I'll scale it. A little bit more. Like so. I can visualize a pin, then another cylinder, very small. Here's my pin, and set it to offset it a little bit. Here's my pin. Okay, so now I can take my wheel and make it lower. I can place another geometry over a piston. Okay, let's so 1 meter. Then minus. Now let's turn that. I don't know. Okay, it works. So that's it over now. See you in the next tutorial.